What's up, everybody? Normally today would be a Season 3 loadout video. It's been about a week since Season 3 started, and that's usually when I do my season loadout video, and then a week after the reloaded season update. But because of an update that came out today, I will not be putting that video out, and it'll probably be sometime the end of the week or during this weekend. The update changed more than just weapons, but we're mainly going to focus on the weapons, so let's quick run through this update. The armored truck health and resistance decreased to be in line, but still greater than the cargo truck, and the turret's damage was decreased by 40%. They said it's an overwhelming presence, as this felt oppressive to engage against, and they want to bring it in line with other vehicles while retaining its role as a powerhouse. Bug fixes: Xbox Live Silver was prevented from accessing Warzone. That's fixed. They supposedly fixed the buy station bug for controllers, even though they supposedly fixed it before. Fixed an issue causing the AMP unlock challenge to not track. Fixed an issue with cape obscuring vision on the Ancestral Spirit Daniel skin and the Astrakhan Padmavati skin. Fixed an issue where the KGM-40, the Volk, the AS-44, the NZ-41, and the Gorenko were not receiving weapon XP, even though nobody really uses those guns, except maybe the AS-44. Weapon adjustments. Vanguard weapons have been struggling to perform on par with their peers since they dropped into Warzone. This update is laying the groundwork to resolve that. Engagement distances have only increased since the transition to Caldera. More skirmishes are taking place within minimum damage ranges. As a result of this, weapons that have low maximum damage ranges or low minimum damage have become largely inviable. Unfortunately for Vanguard weapons, this was often the case. Below you will find a myriad of changes aimed at injecting some budding competition in the upper echelon of Warzone weaponry. AK-47 minimum and maximum damage were both nerfed to damage points. That was going to be one of the main weapons in my loadout video. I don't know now. We'll have to see. This could help the XM4 come back a little bit, but look out for the Farah, the XM4 to work out more, even though they just nerfed that. Look out for the Vargo, and then, maybe some Modern Warfare ones. And they didn't touch the C-58, so we'll have to see how the Cold War weapons shake out and the Modern Warfare weapons shake out. And then after that, the AS-44, the initial recoil was decreased. That was a problem. The maximum damage range is up to 29.8 meters, up from 28.4. Obviously, that gets changed as you add attachments, but it still doesn't have great damage range. And the sustained fire and recoil was just as brutal as the initial. So we'll have to see how that changes. The 615mm barrel maximum damage range was increased by 20%, up from 15%. So that would put you somewhere in the 30s without any other attachments. Assault Rifle Alpha, which is the STG, the headshot damage multiplier was increased. The neck damage multiplier was decreased. The maximum damage increased and the minimum damage increased. That could become the new meta AR, especially when it comes to Vanguard. I still think that the Automaton is right in line with that. The Nikita's not great for long range, and the KGM-40 isn't either, so the new dominant Vanguard AR could easily be the STG with those changes. The 7.62 Gorenko mags fire rate multiplier decreased to 6%, down from 6.54%. I don't think that's the mag people were using anyways. The Krausnik rapid barrel, the sprint to fire speed was increased by 6%, up from a negative 15%. Movement speed now increased by 1.3%. Recoil penalty now begins at 3 bullets, up from 2. Horizontal recoil control penalty decreased to 40%, down from 50. Fire rate multiplier decreased to 15%, down from 20. Maximum damage range now decreased by 8.6. Damage range now decreased by 10%. Recoil booster fire rate multiplier decreased to 1.5%, down from 5%. I don't think people are using that. I think they were using whatever the longest barrel is and the MX silencer, the Mercury silencer. But with these changes up top, it could move it into the meta. Definitely going to have to go into tryout. Assault Rifle Bravo, which is the Automaton, the maximum damage and the minimum damage were both increased. Maximum damage from up to 31 from 29, and minimum damage up to 26 from 22. Assault Rifle Charlie, which is the Itra Burst. I don't think that actually lines up. I'm pretty sure Assault Rifle Charlie in Warzone is actually the BAR. And its maximum damage was increased to 41, up from 40. Minimum damage increased to 36, up from 30. Whether that's the Itra or the BAR, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to get used very often. And yeah, looking at the barrels, it looks like it's actually the BAR. Maximum damage range increased by 20%, up from 15, and rapid barrel damage now decreased by 10%. Assault Rifle Hotel. That is the Cooper carbine. Since it was added after, it's definitely the... Well, it's not. I guess for Warzone, they're different. Hotel was minimum damage increase up to 20, up from 19. The Cooper, which is here, which is why I got confused. The Hotel has to be the Cooper. It has to be a typo because Volk is golf. There's only up to golf in the game, and then KGM 40 and Nikita both came after the Cooper. So Hotel is definitely Cooper. Maximum damage range increased to 29.2 meters, up from 27.9. The 22-inch Cooper custom barrel damage range is now increased by 20%. Minimum damage increased to 20, up from 19. The EM2, a gun that was starting to make a comeback in the meta, its headshot damage multiplier decreased to 1.3, down from 1.5. It's a pretty significant decrease. Maximum damage decreased to 40, down from 41, and minimum damage decreased to 35, down from 37. Fairly significant nerf on the EM2, especially when you consider its recoil. It's not really going to be too meta anymore. Doesn't sound like. KGM 40, maximum damage range increased to 33 meters, up from 31.1. The Krasnik 700 millimeter barrel damage range now increased by 20%. Minimum damage increased to 24, up from 22. The Nikita AVT magazine capacity increased to 40, up from 35. Minimum damage increased to 21, up from 19. The 30-06 40 round fast mags were increased to 40 from 35 capacity wise. The 6.5 Sakura 60 round drums, their capacity was increased to 60, up from 55. The 7.62 54mm R 50 round mags were increased up from 45, and the 40 round fast mags were increased up from 35. While the Nikita AVT has been performing moderately well, we felt that its magazine capacity and minimum damage was holding it back from becoming the sniper support all-star it was destined to become. These changes will undoubtedly install the Nikita AVT as one of the most formidable ground loot weapons. The NZ41 maximum damage range increased to 35.5 meters, up from 30.9. Minimum damage increased to 32, up from 30. NZG could be really interesting. That's a pretty significant damage range increase, as well as a good minimum damage increase. The 6.5 Sakura 50 round mags, the damage penalty decreased to 15%, down from 30, and the Orb Weaver custom barrel, the damage range penalty removed, and horizontal recoil control penalty decreased to 30, down from 50%. The Volk minimum damage increased to 22, up from 20. Still not going to be worth it to me. XM4 headshot multiplier increased to 1.54, up from 1.5. Maximum damage decreased to 29, down from 30. Still going to be very in the meta, I think. Submachine guns, the Armawera headshot damage multiplier increased to 1.58, up from 1.3. That's pretty significant. Minimum damage increased to 19, up from 15. Neck damage multiplier increased to 1.32, up from 1.01. The body 315mm barrel bullet velocity is now increased by 20%. The body 570mm precision bullet velocity now increased by 40%. And the Emmer Ito 550mm bullet velocity now increased by 30%. The M1912, or the Tommy gun, mid damage increased to 22, up from 20. Oh, by the way, the armor wear sounds like it could be pretty strong now. Minimum damage increased to 20, up from 18. The cooling barrel bullet velocity is now increased to 30%, up from 20. And the Chariot 5.5-inch barrel bullet velocity now increased by 30%. My problem with the Tommy gun was, yes, it didn't kill fast enough, which this will help with, but it just felt bouncier than the other weapons. The Owen gun minimum damage was increased to 24, up from 22. This gun still needs a nerf. I have no clue why they're buffing it. PPSH from Vanguard. Minimum damage increased from 19, up from 17. The Empress 140mm bullet velocity is now increased by 20%. And the Zach 300mm barrel bullet velocity increased to 30%, up from 10%. Another gun that did not need a buff. It, if anything, needed a nerf. The hipfire build destroys people. The Sten mid damage increased to 24, up from 22. Min damage increased to 21, up from 18. The short barrel bullet velocity increased to 25%, up from 11%. And the Hawkinson 174mm barrel bullet velocity now increased by 20%. The Sten has really good movement. I think this will definitely help it move more into the meta, especially for people whose game is more movement-based. Submachine Gun Charlie, or the MP40, its minimum damage was increased to 22, up from 21. The Krasnik 317mm barrel bullet velocity is increased to 30%, up from 20. And the short barrel now bullet velocity is increased by 20%. The Type 100 minimum damage increased to 20, up from 18. The light barrel bullet velocity penalty decreased to 10%, up from 12%. The Shirashi precision bullet velocity increased to 40%, up from 20%. The rapid barrel bullet velocity is now increased by 10%. And the well gun, which has been viable might be back into the meta now that its min damage was increased to 24 up from 23, and the short barrel had the velocity penalty removed, and as well as the Hawkinson barrel now increases bullet velocity by 40%. But the min damage is what I'm really focused on because I like the shrouded barrel, and so that could help bring it back to being a very meta SMG. And then finally, attachments, vital upper torso damage multiplier decreased to 1.046 down from 1.05. That's barely anything, and vital wasn't that useful in Warzone anyways. So that being said, those are all your weapon changes. I am going to be, like I said, delaying my loadout video for a few days now, so I can try out some of these things, especially the Armawera, try the MP40 again, the well gun again, the STG, a few things to try out, so that's going to come later. But thank you for watching. If you just skipped around, you watched the whole thing, you only came to the end, I appreciate any watch time. Along with that, I appreciate any interaction, so please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more. But in the comments, let me know what you think of these weapon changes, the armor truck changes, whatever you think about this update. Let me know down below what you think is going to be meta, whatever. Let me know. As usual, I will have the patch notes linked down below, as well as all of my social media, so please feel free to visit those. But I will see you on Caldera and Rebirth Island. Get frying. Have a good day.